All right, we're on.
Time.
All right, welcome to the good stuff, the big episode 46.
We are back.
We are back.
Not at the beach this week, in an undisclosed location due to a random summer storm that has hit. It's caught everyone by surprise.
Yeah, I think sitting in a tin can in heavy rain and hail at times is probably not ideal from an audio point of view.
Yeah. There's ambient background noise and then there's just noise.
Yes. I think given if we get any complaints, the most common one is you guys are quite quiet.
Yes.
That's why I think we 3x the volume when I process this.
Every week.
It's yeah.
So
let's not add that.
What are we going to talk about? Nice and early, let's get it out in the open.
I think we had a few things that we said we'd talk about. One was controlling agents, maybe.
Yeah. So
I've been doing a lot of work on that around this new app console that I've been building. I think I'm curious about there's a thread to pull on about who uses what.
Yeah.
And I sometimes feel like I'm what's the point? Everybody already knows all this stuff, and then you bump into people and you're like, oh right, you don't use this at all.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. There's plenty of scope.
Are we in a bubble?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I think definitely am.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Yeah. So there's two things. You want to add anything in there?
I think that was good. I think we were maybe going to talk about memory as well.
Memory.
Agents.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that'll probably dovetail nicely under the console stuff. And then you mentioned the delegation that we were working with in Superbase and how to keep stuff private from agents.
Yeah, with all of these OpenClaw use cases at the moment floating around, I think the issues that some people are having is when these bots just go off the reservation and do their own thing, delete a bunch of stuff they shouldn't be deleting, text message people they shouldn't be texting, all of that kind of stuff. And I think you've got a really good answer for this with delegations.
I don't know.
Well,
I feel like it's a good start.
It works now. Yeah.
I mean, the core idea there in delegation, because this is correct. So maybe we outline the problem that you've got, is that it becomes obvious very quickly, but you almost feel like it shouldn't work like that. It's maybe not intuitive until you've actually deployed it yourself. But people often talk about if you're going to get an OpenClaw, you put it on your own computer because it has access to the computer and it can read your stuff. And you often think about all right, but there's ways, I can sandbox it a bit and I can say, oh, you're not allowed to run that command, but you can run this command. But then if it has access to just run, to write its own software and run its own software, which it kind of has to if you want the thing to be useful, then it is going to find a way around whatever controls that you put in place there. If it thinks it's helping you, and it probably thinks it's helping you to achieve something. Because if you don't, again, you can make it very unautonomous and it just won't do anything. Yeah. You can make it a bit more autonomous and then it will just find ways around whatever controls that you've put in place to stop it. And so the only hard control that I've found that is really useful is to separate it out and just have okay, you've got access to all the data, but anything I don't want you to see, I never let you see.
Yeah.
And the answer to that is to have encryption built into the way you manage everything on your disk or how you share information with the agent, which goes against a current theme, which is that everything should just be markdown files. Everybody loves markdown files. They could just read them. Yeah. I think this is clearly not going to be the way that we do it because that works great for I've got 10 files or I've got 20-page document, which is everything it ever needs to know. Yep. The reality is it's going to need to know a lot more than that. And constantly reading markdown files into the context window is just not the correct answer. Because you have that Goldilocks effect of not having enough context and having too much context are equally bad. Yeah. It'll just go off the reservation and do something you're not expecting because you also included all this extra stuff. So I think markdown files are the win for just moving quickly right now. And it's why agents work so well on code is the ability, code is just a stack of files and they can just read all the source code. Yeah. And they have structured ways to pass through it. But if you want agents to be quick and useful, they're going to need to know a lot more. So you're going to need to store something in a way that they can access it better. And yeah, I just don't think it's going to be files. That's probably a bit of a by the by. But the way we're doing this inside, working with Wingman, is I've built Wingman. So we talked about this maybe like in the last few months. There's been a common thing where we said, like, okay, Wingman needs to read marginal gains and work with Opticon and like various different situations. And you can kind of natively just do that out of the box. And then what I ended up doing in the last week was I rebuilt my own personal interface to Wingman to experiment and say, okay, well, instead of like just hacking at something that's actively getting used, let's just start up a new project.
Yeah.
Hey, I realized we did a sound check earlier. We didn't actually check
test
the sound check. You know, Wingman wouldn't have forgotten.
That's it.
Yeah. We'll see if
we're only 46 episodes in.
Yeah. So I started experimenting with this personal interface, and I was like, okay, well, it started as, you know, I actually took the same taskboard app that we use in our demo workshops and stuff, and I turned it into this just beast of a thing.
Yeah.
But it's all built on this Superbase service that I've talked about a couple of times. And the nice thing about Superbase is that you have like an app locally in your browser that has all the data, and it effectively has like a local database in the browser that you can query and do whatever you want with, and it's nice and friendly, but it only lives on your machine. And then if you want to get it on your phone, it uses this Superbase service to sync with your phone. And then you have another local copy on your phone. So it's a bit like syncing file systems, but syncing like a database in the end. But that also means that you can have completely different apps, like on your phone and on your desktop, for instance, for different things. Like, it doesn't have to be the same app, it just happens to sync and use the same data and records that it's got. Similarly, you could have a different app completely for your agent. So I now have Wingman has built his own. So there's like two versions of console in a way. There's the version I use on my phone and my desktop, and then there's the version that Wingman uses as a CLI to interact with the same data. And so every time he wakes up, he has a script that runs that'll pull all the latest updates from the console system like into his local database, where he then has access to that. And it's all decrypted on the fly when it comes in, because effectively, like, once he's seen it, he's seen it. Like, there's not really a good way of stopping it. So what I do is, like, whenever I create a task on that board, it is encrypted only to me. Same when I create documents. If I'm creating a chat to Wingman, it's always like delegated to him as well. But there's like for different record types, like it will just be only available to me. And the way that's enforced is the thing that's in Superbase that we sync from is only an encrypted record that only I can decrypt. So I have my Nostr key, he has his Nostr identity, and he can decrypt things that I send to him, but nothing else that's in there. So whilst he has access to the whole database, he can go, technically he can query it, he can't actually read any of it. So he just sees the records that he can see. And I think that as like a primitive is like where you need to start for something like this. If you want to, like, once you've unencrypted something to him and he's synced it, all bets are off at that point. Because, you know, you think about it, it's like, he, you know, could copy it, like if there's malicious code running or something, like could copy it, could go over there. You know, I could ask him to like, just, if I unencrypt stuff, his app could then remove it from that database. You never know if it's been copied elsewhere, but it's a good way to go. So that gives me like this base layer primitive of like, I can share whatever information I want in a structured manner with Wingman, and then but he only gets to see the stuff that I've deliberately given him to. And then the way to do that is I've just got like there's a green lock on any particular item, and if I tap the green lock, his face appears. And if it's a green lock, he can't see it. If it's a face, he can. If I share it with multiple people, multiple faces. So I was like, all right, well, that seems reasonable UI. I can understand it at a glance. I can see my taskboard and go, oh, I haven't given him permission for that one. And I just tap it, and it's done. And so I think that's a nice user-friendly way of just hiding shit from your bot. Is that you give them access to everything, but everything's encrypted, and then you deliberately decrypt the bits that they need. So I think that's where you need to start. Like, and then yes, keep it on its own computer. Yes. Like files are useful for stuff. Like all my agent definitions and things like that are all files, but I don't think it's the way to then store memory tasks, various things like this. Let it write its own tools to do that.
I wouldn't add anything technically to that, I would just say it's not dissimilar to how you'd bring like people into an organization.
Yep.
You have permissions. You know, there's that one client you really should not be talking to. Don't email them. Let me email them.
It sort of is and it isn't though, right? It's because in theory it maps to that quite nicely, which is like you don't have access to this.
Yeah.
I think the base level is like, it's like you've brought in a North Korean hacker into your organization.
Yeah.
And you say, right, you don't have access to this. And he goes, ha 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 ha.
Yes.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
And he just goes and gets access. And so if you were going to do that, you'd be like, all right, you can come in, but everything's encrypted. Like, so you literally, like, you can get access to it. So you don't assume that you can lock the door. I guess that's the difference.
Yeah.
It's like you can walk in the door, but then everything in here is just fucking weird and makes no sense and is all gobbledygook, unless I give you this magic key.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's like the right analogy. But it is like, it maps to that notion of just, it's like technical work under the hood that you don't need to know, but this is probably how you should be doing it if you care at all about maintaining any sort of control over your data.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I guess, like, from my perspective as well, the analogy I think just works because people just work in different ways. You know, I might have like my own way of tracking tasks. Maybe I'm doing it on a pad and paper in the office, and that's not particularly useful because then no one I'm working with has any kind of understanding of what I'm working on at the moment, how they can be useful or helpful, what things I may be missing. You know, and that's like, there's a shortcoming there in the way I'm working that isolates me inside the organization. And I think, that might be a way that I'm like tightly scoping the way I work, but it's not necessarily conducive to the whole. And I think one of the things we're like trying to explore now with Console is like, okay, how do you use Console and how do I use Console inside the same business? And then, you know, you have your Wingman, I have my Wingman. How do those agents interoperate with each other? Is there like a requirement for an agent that, you know, sits above them, that chats to both? And what purpose will that solve? Or what problem would that solve?
Yeah, because it's not like that feels, it feels like the sort of thing that should be there, right? Like you go, oh yeah, obviously the organization needs a Wingman, but then why? Does it or does it just need like shared context inside there? Like what's the point of the agent?
Yeah.
Because in many ways, like, you know, the point of my agent is to do work for me. It's not to do work for you. He won't accept work from you.
Yeah.
Like he'll just go, that's not signed by the right Nostr key. I can't accept this work, which is fantastic. That's the way I want it. And like likewise, yours shouldn't accept commands from me. So I could talk to them. It could be like telling you, oh, Pete's talking to me again. He keeps trying to ask me this, but you know, he's not verified. So I'm not going to accept those messages.
But you know what I mean? There's this like balance you have to strike between being productive and useful while also respecting privacy and respecting the way different people work and like all of those kinds of things. And then there's the other question, this other issue within businesses is like so many people come in and out of business every year, and there's knowledge and data and know-how that is lost in that process. You know, it's earned and then lost. You know, I might walk into a business and I have a particular skill set or a particular understanding of something, and that's useful information to the business now has. And then I might leave a year later and take that with me, and because it's not been codified in the business anywhere, now that business is not the beneficiary of me being in the business. It was only a beneficiary ephemerally while I was there.
So there is a thing here that like, this has come up when I've done previous like consulting gigs around collaboration back in the day. And usually it's only where somebody can spend millions of dollars just like, I don't know, like kind of just staring off into the distance and thinking about some of these projects that we had to do, where you try to get to the bottom of like, what does like good collaboration look like in a business? And you realize that there's like there's all these like different systems that happen. And so like what you said a moment ago about your notebook is absolutely true. And just like, you know, an organization might roll out like an organization level to-do list or task management app or something like this that happens. But every single, like it's 100,000 people in this organization, then all of those translate that thing that you've just given them into something else. Yeah. Often that will be in a physical notebook, just because there's something nice about that. I mean, some people use like the app and try and work inside it, but But there is this thing where the place you work and the place that you record stuff are often separate.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily know why. I suspect it's a bit like the old Hemingway thing that we bump into every now and again, of just you need to be in different mindsets. Like the recording of and the doing of are just different things. And like as a human, you just don't, like you just won't do it. Like as much as you could logically sit back and go, oh, it would make a lot of sense if I only ever work with this to-do app. And then you're like, anyway, let me transcribe it all by hand onto this parchment, because that's nice. And there's something rewarding about it, and it puts you in a different space. But yeah, I think there is something there where...
Part of it is also process though, right? I mean, like you could be in a meeting with 10 people, and in the past, someone's taking notes by hand. And then maybe that progressed to that person taking notes on a laptop. But then it's like, okay, well, what happens to those notes after the meeting? Are there actions? Are there artifacts that are developed? How is it disseminated? What is the work that emerges on the other end of it? And I think this is like a lot of the challenge is just process. It's like, was the meeting useful in the first instance, yes or no? Can we determine if it was useful through a series of artifacts that have been created, or a bunch of work that was done, or a bunch of targets met, something, whatever the point of the meeting was. And then how is that all being tracked? And then was there learning that came out of the doing of those things that is also tracked somewhere? So that as an organism, the business is actually learning and evolving as well and capturing all of that stuff. Because otherwise it just feels like the business itself is just static.
Yeah.
There might be growth, but the process is static and constrained. And then it's very heavily dependent on the personalities and the skills that just happen to be in the business at the time.
Yeah, it's almost like you could frame this as saying the business is growing, but it's not improving. Because like businesses focus on growth usually, right? That's the thing. You have to be bigger. You need to be servicing more people, and then what happens is somebody just gets over its skis somehow, and it's like, I can't service this many people. I don't know what I'm doing. Like none of the old processes work, and the business was never improving as it went. It was just growing. It's kind of a different focus for it. And my gut feeling, I think you're right about all that. Like the business should be is the business, like this like nebulous term, and often we talk about the business as being the right container for an AI. It is the business. The business needs to improve as it goes. So there is something there. But I also think it's very like there's a reason it doesn't happen naturally, is that it's just anti-human in a way. Like I think it's very normal for people to just be like, all right, I can logically say like, oh, it makes sense that we all use this system over here because then we know everything. And you go, all right, but I won't because I'm special. And I think again, when you push this over, I think this is true in like a 20-person organization as a 20,000 person organization as well, is that everybody just has their own way of doing stuff. And so it kind of has to be a little bit unique and flexible to them to get the most out of them. And if it's not, they just work around it. And then what happens is you have your own system for working and doing, and then you have this other thing that you record stuff into. And then the delta is, as you said, when you come in, you develop a way of doing something, but you do it in your space, and then it's just never recorded.
That's it.
Because the delta for you to record stuff, so if I have to like do all that again into this thing that just doesn't really work with it. So I think like easing that burden, so you can allow people to create their own spaces for doing. But making it simpler to then record it into something else. And I think there is a role there for agents. Like we were just talking, obviously we did the pre-podcast podcast where we discuss everything. We
should start getting members, and we should have like a members section, pre-pod recording.
Pre-pod pod.
If anyone's interested, reach out.
How few people are going to be in that one? But this is an area where I could see delegating that to Wingman to say, all right, we're going to work in the way that we work, and that's going to be like our relationship is figuring that out. And I'll have my tool and you'll have your tool, and both will be kind of unique. But we also have this company tool, and your job is the stuff that you know of, you can then put into that company tool. Maybe given certain rules for that. But because that would make sense to me, is then that can cover that heavy lifting of like, well, if somebody just followed you around every day, like, and was just not in the way, and you were quite happy with that as a relationship,
Yeah.
like they would know what you've done, and they'd be like, oh no, Andy used to do it like that. Oh, Andy used to do it like that.
Well, this
so
is
they
where,
could record it on your behalf.
This is where I think it's really interesting how the agents, like your agent and my agent, how do they interoperate? Because there may be, like, best practice may actually already exist within the organization. And so then if I'm about to do something with my Wingman, my Wingman could be like, well, hang on a minute, like we've got this context graph inside the business, and it's built up with like dozens of examples that Pete's Wingman has already done. And so I can already establish what best practice is. So how I should go about doing this work is already established for me. I don't need to go and like essentially like rebuild this from scratch. I should know how to go and do it. And it may even push back on me in that respect because I don't necessarily have, you know, a clear understanding of what best practice should look like for that business.
Yeah.
And so I think that like interrelationship between agents inside the business is really interesting. And then that is also definitionally a question of what the business actually is and what it becomes. Because like right now, it's kind of like a vehicle for a bunch of people to come together, push through a series of processes and try and make some sort of profit on the end of it, loosely, right? I mean, everyone's definition is going to be somewhat different on this. But I think ultimately it's just going to be like a collection of systems, artifacts, best practice that is just wrapped up in an engine. People will come and go and they'll add to it, but that is codified inside that business then. It's not lost. There's so much knowledge,
That's
loss
almost
and
the
transfer.
thing that is the business, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, it is like a business is a set of processes and assets and liabilities and IP and various different things.
This is the classic like key person risk. Like you just cut, like someone comes into the business and you're like, oh, we've hired this person because they are like exceptionally skilled at doing X.
Yeah.
And then if that person leaves, all of a sudden you're like, ah, shit. You know, we've got to go and try and replace that somehow because that doesn't natively exist in the business. And because we never codified anything from their time with us, it wasn't captured and isn't like living inside the organism anywhere. We've lost it. We lost it with the person.
I mean, it's so fucking hard as well to like map business processes in a business because people lie, like, and not even like lie's a loaded term, right? But it's, you would ask somebody how they do something and they describe like the absolute happy path.
Yeah.
And then you watch somebody do it and you say, well, hang on a minute, why have we stopped here? Like, what's happened for the last 2 days? And they're like, oh yeah, it's gone to that person over there, and they usually take like 2 to 3 days to get back to me. And it's like, well, you know, your process that you said like is like 5 minutes of work. It's not. It's like it's at least 3 days long now. What's going on? Like, and it's like, oh yeah, I guess so. And then, but then you would like push on all of these things, and you realize that for any 5-step process, it's like 100 steps, and you know, there's like at least 5 loops in there where things just go round and round and never come out. And you go, you know what, if we got rid of all these, like this would be way cheaper. And people go, oh yeah, that's nice. But to record all that is almost, it's just like one of these Herculean impossible tasks. Like every now and again you might come in and do it. You're probably going to get lied to if you bring in someone external because they won't have the time and effort to be able to do it unless they're really focused on a process. So you would only ever really do it on processes that are like high value and worthwhile. Yeah. And it just doesn't happen. But if you just had somebody slowly observing stuff all the time, you could start just mapping processes in the background, saying, well, what work have you done today? Okay, how did you do it? And it could be like that simple. Yeah. And then maybe that's how you start building up some of these corporate memories of just like, right, well, we have, in the same way you would have entities like, you know, we said like, you know, in console, the way I've broken it down is almost like I've done like a little master data management project on myself, and I've just said, right, okay, I care about tasks that we're doing. I care about status reports that you're going to send me. I care about voice notes that I'm going to send you. I care about chats that we're going to have, and all these are distinct areas of the app. I care about documents that we're working on together, and so there's a full document folder, everything going on in there. And I care about what would be the other one, like opportunities, like what's like my latest wacky idea, or is there something that we need to land for the business that I need to be focused on? Like, what are these areas of focus? And all of those are associated with people. So there's a bunch of people that I know that I haven't got written down anywhere except in my head. Let's start writing those down. Yeah. As I tell you about them, write them down, say who they work for, so I have organizations as well, and then go and profile those things, and then go and subscribe to their Twitter feeds, and then go and update me based on what happens on their Twitter feeds, sort of thing. And you start to like dictate all this stuff out, and okay, well, these are all things that I care about. And then like, oh, well, the business would care about all those things as well. So some of those we could push up to this business layer. And some of them would go up to, like, there's other things that the business might care about that I don't care about. Like, the business should care about what's getting done and how. So I might not think to write down like the steps that I go through to solve a problem.
Yeah.
But if we know that's logged somewhere, then as you said, somebody else can come in and we can just delegate it. So maybe even it's not so much that like it's me or you. It's hard to think about from our point of view because we're not really trying to grow employees inside this business. But let's say we did. Let's say we wanted to bring on somebody junior to do it. You know, if we've got a bot that's observed like how we prep for like all the workshops, for instance, and like what the delivery cycle is, like what all the jokes are that land inside the meeting and all that, you could start having
it's a short list.
Somebody else. It's like a little mini panic every time you roll one like at the moment. But you know, you could start having somebody else come in and just pick that up, and like, they could be then coached by their agent. Their wingman comes in and goes, all right, this is how we do it over here. I've got infinite time to explain to you like how Peter's panicked over this for the last several months.
Yeah, it's like we've had agents shadow us, and then when someone new comes in, they have a buddy.
Yeah,
and that's not dissimilar to how we might, you know, onboard new people into a business. You might just have someone with the role of you're going to be this person's buddy while they get their feet settled, and then.
This is where I think there's like this element here of like, you know, you have your machine has your wingman on it. I have my machine, I have my wingman on it, and there's a server in the middle that then gathers the company data. Yeah, it's not obvious to me that server has a wingman for the company. Like it may do. I'm not against the idea. It's just I don't know who's talking to it.
Exactly.
Like, it's just like I don't think it talks to itself. Like I think it's more that my wingman takes a lot of my delegated roles, and your wingman takes your delegated roles, as opposed to like there being our wingman that takes both. Yeah. And like one obvious, well, it's not obvious again, like thing that came out of that was I realized when I was like, oh, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to give everybody, so it's kind of nuts, but in a workshop, we'll give everybody their own personal wingman. And the reason we have to give them their own personal wingman is that if I give you my bot, you can just read everything that's in my stuff. Yeah. Like it can find ways to go and get that. It's, you know, I can try and gate it, but particularly in the workshop environment, like somebody could theoretically just take the URL of somebody else's app, for instance, is how we started with it. Yeah. And they could have just connected to their app and read all their stuff. It's like, oh, it shouldn't work like that. It doesn't matter for the sake of, you know, building something in half an hour that you're really just going to throw away afterwards. But it shouldn't work like that, so let's just fix it. Yeah. Like as it becomes obvious, let's just fix the problem, which is something absolutely fucking remarkable about working with AI. Is I barely backlog anything. I just fix it in the moment, or I just say, you know what, I'll remember about this at the right time when it's required. But
yeah, then there's also this question around, again, it's coming back to delegations. It's like, how do you, there's like an organizational set of delegations, presumably, and then an individual set of delegations that's potentially needed as well. So then it's like, how do you architect the organizational delegations? Is that just who gets to determine?
Yeah, I don't know that yet. That's the bit that I want to explore as we spend more time working on console. I think it's one of these areas where, like, an old friend of mine, Mike, is an architect, friend of the pod, potentially future friend of the pod,
future
FF,
prospective
TOP,
friend of the pod,
prospective PFTP. He always used to say, like, I mean, he bought this warehouse, and like, it's like, God, like, God bless his wife, like, so, like older than us, like, their kids have moved out, and like they moved into like basically an empty shell of a warehouse to just like live in it a bit. Like they're basically camping in this thing, trying to figure out how they're going to use it. Yeah, it's like you can't know a house, you can't know what's going to feel right and like how to use the space until you're in it and you've spent time in it. Yeah, and it's interesting, and it's never occurred to me that I was like, oh, and that's like how an architect of a building thinks about it. But I think it's true of software as well. It's like are there best practices? Yeah, of course. Like, could you do a paper design for this? Yep, of course you could. I'm actually going to observe it in practice and then adjust that. Because And I feel like that is like how I do a lot of the software these days. Is I'm less trying to like. It's so much more by feel. Like this is like the term vibe coding is like more and more. Like, it is like vibes is kind of like a good word here for a lot of this. Is that you do feel your way around the software a lot more, and like you start to get a feel for, you know what, we've built this wrong.
Yeah.
And it's really nice that it's kind of like, I think we had a podcast called this that was like the death of the sunk cost fallacy.
Yeah.
I feel like
really
that was a podcast title.
Yeah.
Like, look it up, like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Tell friends.
It was either the title or it was the theme.
I think it was one of those things we had it. But it's kind of nice that, as I said, like the marginal gain stuff, I've almost entirely rebuilt inside console within 5 days.
Yeah.
Like, and there's
crazy.
more in console than there ever was in marginal gains.
Yeah.
And it's a different model completely. And it's where I really wanted to do marginal gains, but I wasn't quite ready for it at the time. But I was like, all right, this is probably what I'm going to do moving forwards. And then the question will be like, all right, Wingman, migrate from marginal gains to console.
Yeah.
Boom. Just do that overnight and we'll see you in the morning.
Yeah.
But it's I don't know where
that's also like a really nice, like having that cadence is also really handy. It's something I think that like if you've got like an international team across time zones, you kind of experience for yourself, but there's always something moving forward. You know, it's not like everyone leaves at 5:30 and they all go home and then they all pick up work again the next day, but everything is stopped over that period of time. Whereas with these agents, or if you're working with teams that are like in different time zones, it's like there's always something new that's happened that you need to review the moment you get in the morning. Work is continually pushed forward while you've been away.
Yeah.
And I think that's like a really interesting, because that is just an accelerant on a small business as well. Like the ability to keep pushing work forward with these agents, and you can just let them run overnight, pick up a bunch of tasks and review them in the morning.
I had to tell Wingman off a little bit the other day because before bed, I'd said, "Oh, tomorrow we need to focus on this thing, and this is what I want to focus on." Like, and feel free to read ahead and like sketch out a design. But all right, anyway, go to bed. What I realised is during the wake cycles, like overnight, he's gone like, "Oh yeah, okay, I need to do that. I'll get on it." And he's like read everything. He's I'll just put all these tasks on the board, ready. Yeah. And there's probably not enough context in there from where I was, and then I think he woke up again. I can't remember exactly. I think maybe he did it in the same cycle, maybe it was in the next one. But then he like woke up and it was like, got all these tasks, best get on it. Yep. Just did the whole thing. Oh wow. And I woke up in the morning and like my entire like review queue was just stacked, and I was like, what's all this? And then, so, you know, telling off maybe a strong word, but it was like very much, I went back in and sort of went like, all right, we need to like just think about some terms here and like how we do this, because is it useful that you're going to build all this stuff? Potentially, but I don't know what's in there. And like in the same way that you wake up fresh, I wake up fresh. Like if you've gone and done stuff while I'm asleep, I don't know what it is. Yeah. And if I need to like work with it with somebody or present it in some way, like it's not necessarily useful to me to have a bunch of stuff in there that I don't understand and can't intuit correctly. And he's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Like I have that problem. So, okay, well, we need to figure out like what are the right ways of doing it, and how do we make sure we don't get too far ahead of ourselves and we wait where appropriate. And just it's just like coaching. There are checkpoints that you need to, junior employee or something. Like it's just kind of new. Get to this checkpoint, and then like that's considered success for tonight, and then I'll review it, and then we can set a new checkpoint. And but it's like staging work, like a person, it's almost unenforceable in the way that you say, that's the process we're going to go. And it's like, cool, we'll just do something different. This is insane though, right? I mean, like this maybe the direction we can go in is something you touched on right at the beginning. It's like where people are at. Like this whole concept that you can basically stage a bunch of work and have an agent with a wake cycle just pick it up in the middle of the night and start doing things for you. Like I don't know that that's a well-known thing. This is like maybe like an aspect of us living in a bubble a bit and just assuming that everyone knows you can do this now. And so I do wonder, like, I think it's a valid question, is like, where are people at with this stuff? Well, and some of these things, like, Because I mean, I've had that as a functionality, even in the first version of Wingman back in August time.
Yep.
But I never used it. It wasn't that useful, and it's still only just getting a bit more useful now. I run it as it's more because it runs the heartbeat, and I don't really tell it what to do. It will often just wake up, check stuff out, and go, all right, I'm done. Go back to bed.
Yep.
But
it helps that we have the board though.
That's the thing. If I just dump something on there, I'll just pick it up and deal with it. Like I say, can we just slowly make refactors to Wingman, like one piece at a time, very delicate, make sure it's tested, one per wake cycle.
Yep.
Sort of thing where I can keep an eye on it, but I'll trust you. And it's like, oh yeah, cool. And it's just it's delivered about 30 refactors and taken a lot of the code out that I wanted taking out along the way. So I thought, okay, sweet, keep on top of it. It's tricky, but where are people at? So I don't know. I don't think anybody. It's hard to know as well. You really need. Cause it's not obvious why that's so useful because you don't work like that. Because you've never had this thing that can just. It's like, well, can you read the internet for me? And it's like, yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, but I read the internet. What do I do now? It's just. It's really not obvious what to delegate. So I think there is this space where we need to learn these things exist, and they have existed for a while. And I think this is part of the OpenClaw thing, was just there's enough hype around people getting their emails answered or whatever is the thing, that people go, I can do stuff with this.
Yep.
Cool. Now what?
Yeah.
But it's opened up now that there's a capability there, and I think people are going to start exploring it. And I think a lot of, as is often the case, the early use cases will just be kind of a bit hypey and nonsense and not really anything useful.
Yeah.
But then people will find that they have legitimate problems, and they can just solve their own problem.
Yes.
I mean, this has been our thesis with other stuff, and I feel like we end up explaining to people a lot of the times is that look, I know this technology enough, and I know how I use it, that I know that almost every person that invests time in this is going to get a lot of value out of it. But I can't tell you where you'll find that value because I don't know intimately enough what your problems are. So all I can do really is kind of introduce you to different ways of using it that trigger something in you to go, oh, that's like this for me that costs me, 5 hours a week and racks up a bill of 80 grand over the year. And you're like, so it's worth 80 grand for you because you can solve that problem. Just the thing you have to do, you don't have to do anymore. You can delegate it. But it's a very personal thing, I think.
We kind of see this play out in workshops that we run, right at the beginning, people are very, wouldn't say averse to, let me say it another way. They're very dependent on the templated prompts that we give them to get started.
Yeah.
And then people tend to have this observation at various points where they're like, oh, what if I want it to just do X? And it'll usually be me walking around the room, and I'll just ask them, it's like, can I get it to do that? And I'm like, I don't know, why don't you try? And I could just say yes. I could just say no, but you don't learn anything that way. And I think they need to have that moment, that realization of shit, this actually just does the thing I wanted it to do.
I almost, we have the steps. It's step one is we're going to make a tiny change. It's all visual. Step 2 is we replace Trello. You've built your own $500 million corporation. Step 3 is you get to go. I always think maybe when we launch step 3, we need a big, you have permission to experiment. This is just...
Yeah, I think we haven't expressly said it. I think
I think it would help.
Yeah,
it would be,
because it's the kind of thing where I think they're looking for the next opportunity for us to give them permission to do a thing, and it's that's just not the right way to work with these things.
Yeah, it's just what are you thinking about?
Yeah,
ask the thing how you would do it.
Yeah,
then do it.
And
maybe that's even a step we can bring in, because I think because the first few prompts you know what to say, you just say it, and it maybe implies, I don't know, because I don't know what to say, I can't say it. Where you can say, I am a blah, 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 blah. How would I use this in my daily life? And you go, oh, you could do this. And go, oh, yeah, that's not a bad idea. Oh, it's stock take. Oh, it's not a task management app anymore. That's a stock taking app.
Well, that's it.
Or can we have stock taking records?
Yeah.
You say, yeah. What we could do is there's a new record type called stock take. You could have a task called stock take that happens every week. And now you also have this second tab that you can click to, and then that has all your stock take details on it, and we'll just track whatever it is that you're stock taking. It's like, oh, sweet, let's do that. Oh, can I take a photo of like that, and then you can guess the stock? Yeah, we do that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and you kind of see that people are progressing at different levels here as well, depending on their comfort.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, one guy had like essentially all their like financial management wrapped into this thing. But I mean, you mentioned it earlier, that same starter repo that we use for the workshop, you've built console on. I built Opticon from that same starter repo. Yeah. Like, you know, it's kind of crazy the directions you can take this stuff in. You know, so yeah, I'm not
one's
surprised.
a whiteboard, one's
yeah, exactly. They're so different. Yeah. So it kind of is not surprising that you could just go off in different directions. It's almost like a success for us to see, you know, like 10 different, like really different variations of the same app that, you know, they don't necessarily all end up as Kanban boards.
So there's a question to you maybe then, because I'm curious how you think about this from your perspective, from being in a different spot in the room. But like, I sometimes wonder like, is this even interesting anymore? This is like my where are people at question. It's kind of like, yeah, we just like creating an app in 30 minutes. Like that like didn't exist like, you know, a few months ago. But is that old hat now? Like, does it need to be like way more than this? Like, where do we need to push it to? How far do we take people in this first hour? Because that has probably been an impact from the OpenClaw stuff, where I'm like, yeah, okay, maybe the expectations are shifting here. Whereas, you know, like 3 months ago, like you take somebody from 0 to app to agent talking to the app and writing all your plans for you to being like, oh shit, that's a long way to go in an hour. Yeah. And I'm like, well, do we need to have people like even starting from the agent, and the agent creates the app sort of thing on your behalf and manages all the data in the app, and it's all kind of set up, good to go. And it's like, I kind of like the separation of the two things because they are different. Yeah. But you could just roll the whole thing, and it's just like the agent starts creating its own like to-do list app to help you manage it, sort of thing. Well, maybe that would like hit harder because it's more quickly you bring the agent into the business because we like, just for the sake of the audience, I guess, like we create an app and you're effectively like creating your own to-do list and like stuff that's going on in task management. You look at it from different points of view, from like timing and calendars and Kanban boards and status and like different workflows that you might build, and then you get the agent to come in and start reading the graph, replying to stuff. But quite a few people in the recent one were very early on trying to get the agent to write into the actual data, so they were trying to get it to submit data on its behalf, and it's like, like,
I did notice that.
Has the like that, but that didn't happen.
No, it
like,
didn't. No.
Even like a couple of weeks ago, right? Like it wasn't a thing. It's like, what? Like, has it just moved like that much that you go, all right, let's readjust and we'll bring that piece earlier into it, and then you use that as a more collaborative space. Or maybe people should be maybe we almost don't go the Wingman approach, and we bring them into console, and you fire it up in that way, and you build your own console on the fly as you go. Yeah. Or I don't know.
I thought, it's interesting.
I mean, to me, that's more the speedrun applied piece. So
yes,
but I'm kind of.
No, I agree. I think because what was interesting at the end of that session, a couple of people were using the agent to. I think they were just like creating meal plans for themselves, right? Because
meal plans.
Yeah, because their tasks were very like, you know, everyone puts in a bunch of generic tasks into their to-do list. And it's very much like, I've just got to like organize my like cooking for the week, and I've got to go shopping.
Wash the wife, dinner with the car.
That's the one.
Jokes. These are the jokes that
lands every time.
When you're reviewing this transcript for me. That's one of the jokes that lands.
60% of the time.
60% of the time it works every time.
It was one of those things where, like two of the guys were trying to get the agent to plan out meals and then use that to populate the tasks that they need. So it's like, I've got to go and like buy a bunch of ingredients from the shop. So I'm just going to do that, make sure there's a task in there. And then I've got to plan out the meals for the week. make sure, each task is set based on like what I'm cooking and when. And so I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like this is a very personalized approach to using the agent to get it to actually start using the boards you've created in a more productive way. And we kind of like get there right at the end, and then that's the end of the session. We could bring that forward. But I mean, that's also just a small, like it's a speedrun light.
Yeah.
And like in my mind,
it's
it's
like an hour. I mean, it's an hour. Like as I said, it's a long way to go in an hour.
Exactly. And so I guess from my perspective, the point of that session is really just to kill the limiting beliefs around this stuff. And I think it occurs around the time people get the app on their phone. It's like they've done a bit of building. Most of it is really heavily scaffolded by us. There's some like hard config and setup. And then all of a sudden they start putting some prompts in. And then right around the time they first look at the app on their phone, you can just see it in people's faces and they're like, oh shit.
I could use this.
I've done this.
Yeah.
I didn't get someone else to do this. Like I've done this. It's exactly how I scoped it, and it's on my phone, and I use it.
It feels like the meme, and there's like Wingman gives them an app, and they go, "I built this."
Yeah, exactly. But like that,
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the aim of the game for that session. I think in the longer sessions we do, the 3-hour ones, maybe
way harder.
Maybe we should be. But at the same time, it was interesting, and like I won't provide details because obviously, like confidentiality and whatnot. But we did a session last week, and there were a couple of ladies, and they were kind of paired up together because it was a bigger session than we normally would run, and they wanted, let me just say, like it's an onboarding flow. They wanted just to map an onboarding flow, but it was based on some work the two of them had been working on for a few weeks, and the agent didn't just create the onboarding flow, but it actually like mapped all of the work as well and all of the steps. And they were looking at it and like, this is actually pretty good. Like we've been working on this. Like we might tweak it a little bit, but like it's substantively the work that we've done. Like this is crazy. Like how did it know to do that? And so you do get these little penny drop moments in the room where people are like, I was not expecting that. That's crazy.
In some ways, like that's the issue with the light version, is that you almost don't get enough time to do those.
Yep.
And you almost need like just more time to play.
Yes.
Afterwards, like so maybe it is like just have like wow moments after wow moments. It's just kind of.
Yeah, in that respect, I think it's mission accomplished.
Yeah.
I think by and large, people would walk away from the sessions and go, oh yeah, okay, that's cool. Like I've never done something like that before. And not just that, but I didn't know that I could do something like that.
Yeah, I didn't know this was an option.
Yeah. And I think that's all you need because as you say, like we don't know all of the problems, all of the use cases that might be relevant for someone else. Yeah. Like I'll speak for myself, like I'm still discovering those for me. Like every week I keep pushing the envelope, and that's just because we've had like a couple of years of this now where we're just in the tools every day. It's cool. Like I just think it's this is why I really love this, like the teach a person to fish approach, because it's just going to be like so much more rewarding to see everyone else pick this stuff up and use it in their own meaningful use cases.
And I think it maps as well that what we see is it's not that like somebody finishes this session and they go, oh my god, this is amazing, I'm going to use it to do exactly this, this, and this. Is they go, oh, that was I didn't know I could do that. That was cool. That was really interesting. Like I learned a lot today. And then they go away, and then like a week or two later, they're like, oh my god, I could do all this stuff. It's like there is this delayed reaction to it. That
well, if you think about it, every speedrun light session we've run now, there are always people that will hang back and then start talking to us about the things where they might
can
actually
see. Like, they can't see exactly how to do it, but like there's something there where you go, ooh, this is probably the space to be in for this problem that I've got. Yeah. That again, like it would cost you tens and tens of thousands of dollars. That you're like, oh, I can just do that, and I could do that. I don't need to like ask somebody and then explain it and then them not understand what I mean, and then that costs me like 10 grand to even try and explain it, and then I don't quite get. It's not worth it. Yeah. So I could just try it for like a few $100. And then what? I know. And it's done. It's like, oh, look, it's just, there is this like permissionlessness that's so beautiful of just like, oh, I can be the person that drives this. Like we're saying like it's like you used to talk to a computer, you had to learn computer, and computers have just learned human.
Yeah.
And it's so much nicer now that more people can talk to computers.
Yeah.
Instead of just like a small number of gatekeepers that you would have to go through. And just by virtue of like how they had to skill themselves up to talk computer, they don't talk human as well. And they don't live in your business, so they don't understand it. So all of your time is going to be in it always has been, is like the high value bit is trying to find somebody that can understand your business.
Yes.
And trying to convince them of why it's a problem versus in their world where it's just not a problem at all.
Well, this is why you just need to develop those champions in-house that get across the tools. We had an episode on that last week. It was a short one, but yeah.
And it's also why, like, interestingly, shorter episode didn't do any better, so we might as well just go for the normal thing.
Just keep
and
prattling
I remember thinking, like, oh, we'll keep an eye on that. I was like, okay, fair enough. Doesn't matter.
I don't think it matters, yeah.
I think if people listen to stuff at all,
it's
they
comments.
actually kind of like listening to longer stuff.
No, I honestly think it's so dependent on comments. I think
so if you're listening, comment.
Yeah. If you like this and you think more people ought to listen to us,
comment a bunch.
Send us comments.
This is good.
But also, just tell us if there's something we should be covering.
Yeah, because we're always
drop it in the comments, because we're always like coming up with like what is something that people might want us to talk about that would be useful. And usually we just scratch our own itches and hope that that's useful to other people. But yeah, drop them in the comments.
Yeah, and then like and subscribe, and
do that as well.
Like, create a few more accounts.
Good
and
things.
Like and subscribe. You don't bother with that; it's kind of pointless.
Yeah,
but do recommend it to a friend, a trusted colleague, confidant, a mother.
Share the love.
Yeah.
So I think that was a useful takeaway as well from those sessions. But I think there's definitely an opportunity to show more agent use cases. While we're on this as well, I'm just going to like flag this. The thing I noticed in yesterday's session, I've noticed it a couple of times, but particularly yesterday's session, is there's confusion around switching between the agent at the end that we get them working on the summaries, and then the agent they talk to actually build the app. And so like often they'll just be like using them interchangeably, not knowing which one they're using and why something breaks or doesn't work or isn't actioned, and it's because they're talking to the wrong agent. So I noticed that quite a bit yesterday. So we're just doing some troubleshooting on air here, by the way. That's fine. Some direct feedback from the workshop. But yeah, something to keep in mind. But yeah,
it's not obvious to me what I would do about that.
So,
because they are different things. But
yeah,
I can absolutely see if you're not used to working in this.
Yeah, it's the first time.
Like I am, like why you would be confused by that. So maybe there is. I mean, maybe that does lend itself to that other approach where we say, well, maybe we embed the agent in the app from the start.
Yes.
And like it is self-aware of its own. Like it is the agent. It is also gets delegated access to your tasks. We do that all up front, and we just embed it in one thing. Yeah. And then there's just less confusion. You just ask, and
it'll do it.
Yeah. I mean, in a way, that's kind of how I work with Wingman on a lot of stuff these days. Is I work in the agent mode, and it has access to the app. So what we can do is we can embed the starter app maybe under the agent or something like that. Or, I think as long as it installs correctly. Or maybe I'll do that for the next one.
We'll try.
I feel like I always dick around with these things. Beforehand, just so that I can have like a last minute panic in the couple of days before. I'm like, oh shit, does this work, or did I half migrate something?
There's always different bugs as well to go and fix. Like people will have like different bugs that will emerge.
It's interesting that they're different.
They'll have similar ones, but
each time. And like we've done like some on Claude, some on Codex. Went back to Codex again for this one because I think for a workshop environment particularly, it just goes. And does. You don't have to like answer, even if it might not return as quickly. You're not constantly pressing yes and don't ask me again. Yes, don't ask me again. Like that's annoying with Claude. Like and running it like gloves off mode is like don't know if we should be doing that in workshops. But Codex seems a bit more autonomous in that way, which is good.
Agreed. So are we comfortable with like answering this question of where people are at? It's just we just don't.
No, I've got no idea.
I've got no idea. That's the problem. I just don't know.
Because I look on Twitter. I think Justin baited me into looking on Twitter.
Oh no!
It's when the FIP stuff was getting a lot of traction. And then I went through and I was like, God, like everybody, there's a lot of hype here. Like I saw a bunch of like, Claude has released remote. Like all these startups are dead. And I was like, no, they're probably not.
That's it.
Like it's like I've had remote access to Claude Code for 9 months, and they've released it. Am I going to use their thing? No. I barely ever touch their app. So I probably won't. I'll probably just carry on using my thing that already worked.
Yeah.
Like I probably wouldn't have used any of the startups, but also I want the version that does Claude Code and it does Codex. And if Gemini suddenly becomes good at some point, it never seems to become good for long enough that it's ever made me switch.
That's it.
Like I have it there. I think I've used it like twice. Like in the amount I use these things.
You get a few days of hype online and then it dies off very quickly.
It gets hyped hard as well, doesn't it? I wonder if there's something unnatural about that.
Some influencers being paid to shill potentially.
Because and even like the Google tools are just they're
horrible.
So horrible. Like you go, okay, I'm going to try this. Yeah. Like where the fuck do I go? Like, I actually use their. I will often like one of my core use cases for AI. it's like going, what's that command again in the CLI? But I will always just do that directly into the command bar, into the search bar on the browser, knowing that Gemini will pick it up.
Yes.
And that it's just a freebie. So it's all that sort of stuff I will get it for. But yeah, it's not. I don't use it for any meaningful work. For a while, back when I was using RuCode, I had Gemini 2.5. That for a while was like just a great planning engine. Yeah. It was good at specs. I think that's the last time I really used it. All the Gemini free hype that came out, like I never.
Yeah, I've never.
It was
never bothered.
Again, like after Sonnet 3.5, I felt like okay, these things are pretty good. Yeah. It's more tooling. I think what's interesting is the models have got better, like the cycles that they have to go through have come down as well. Yeah. But I still maintain my prediction this year was that models matter less than tools. I think we're seeing that play out in space. Exactly. Like OpenClaw is not a model thing. It's a tool thing. Yep. And it just like blew people's mind that you could do this. And it's like, like you could have done this. You just needed, and you could do it by asking a model, like, how do I do this? Yes. you didn't know that you had a desire for this thing. But this guy did, and so he built it instead.
That's it.
And it just went wild. So I still think this is going to be like the year of the tools more than I think the models are still coming. I mean, they already are, right? We had Sonnet 4.5 and 4.6, and
that's it.
Like
but nothing that is really groundbreaking.
I can't remember. They seem better. Like
they do. They absolutely do. But I can't remember the one that last year just came out of nowhere, and I was like, oh shit, this is nuts. But I haven't had that again, and I don't know if that's a me thing or a model thing, where my expectations have just like tempered along with the release schedule. But I haven't felt like there's been that big quantum leap. They're just they're marginal improvements.
I mean, I certainly like when I start throwing more money at Claude and saying like, okay, well, let's just use everything on Opus as opposed to Sonnet. And it was almost going from like Sonnet 4 to Opus 4.5 or something. It was like,
yeah, that's good.
This thing is actually just, it's getting a lot more things right. Like, and they do just get a lot of things right these days, and they're good at working. So.
But you're right. I mean, I think this is
well done. AI.
Yeah, exactly.
You're doing good.
But this
like
is
a normal, but I just don't think I think it's rare. Some people now know of the co-work stuff that's coming to Claude. I think people will get exposed to randomly like what will pop up in ChatGPT, and then there's like generally people talking stuff like, I mean, even the OpenClaw stuff, right? That's just gonna. It's like when I would talk about Bitcoin or something. Like people just go, oh, I just don't know what it is. Like it's like the brand's all wrong in a way. It'll appeal to a certain type of people. They will go and do stuff, which is cool. And then everybody else will go like, oh, that just sounds a bit silly. Why isn't it called personal business best? Something like, something generic that sounds like it would never actually be interesting to hack with. But sounds like, or I'll just wait for Microsoft to do it. And it's like, yeah, but they will make, like, I don't know how, but somehow they'll make a bad version of this. Yeah. Like, it won't do what you want. I don't know how they managed to do that so consistently. Like, we're taking this idea, it's very simple. Yeah. And what we've done is we've done almost that, except it's shit. It's like, oh, all right. You could probably remove that post-it note from the board. Like, you don't need the make it shit one. Like, it's just, you could have made the exact carbon copy. Why did you feel the need to make it shit? It's like, oh, it needs to fit in our ecosystem. Oh, okay, I see now.
There were 15
it's part of the brand
meetings.
guidelines or something.
There were 15 meetings spun up just to talk about that post-it note. So now you have to
make it shit.
Yeah, this is part of the problem. I mean, it comes back to this thing that we've talked about so much about.
To be honest, that's why I like the workshops as well, because it does put me back in touch with people and go, oh, okay, this is still rare.
Pulls us out of the bubble as well, and you can get a sense of where people are at a little bit.
Sorry, you carry on.
No, I was just going to say, like, a part of the challenge with like OpenClaw and all of these tools that just keep emerging is how do you know which one's the right one for you? Does it do what you expect it to do? Are you just going to have businesses essentially running on different agent standards that are locked into different platforms they get used to? And like, how does that play out over time? You know, is there like some kind of like performance mapping you can benchmark against like different systems that different businesses run? And I don't know, I just kind of feel like, again, you've got like a vendor problem here where you just you're abdicating a little bit of the how and the why to, you know, a system that's already been built, and you're trying to figure out like, could this work for us?
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes more towards like a Linux type thing where you're going to have a lot of like lower level single use things that are then composed for the business.
Yeah.
So, because even like when I look at OpenClaw, I don't know if I need the OpenClaw bit, because that is effectively Wingman. But what it does do is it packages and can use all these other like skills are generic across all agents anyway, but then also the CLIs that he's built. Is I think most of I probably can't make that claim, but I think a lot of like the value comes from the fact that he spent a year building lots of like very specific CLI tools to manage different things on his app, and that's where a lot of the magic comes from. It's just like, all right, well, you want OpenClaw to like you want to say, oh, build me an app that, and then he has a tool that is an automatic like app starter and runner and stuff like that. So it's in the same way that I've got that in Wingman, because I was like, well, I'm going to want Wingman to build tools for itself, and it needs to be able to run them, so it needs to have a way of running them, so I built a way of running them. And so, but I would look at it and go, so that Poltergeist app could be useful, and that like Google like CLI, I could use that. You just drop it into this folder, and now Wingman does that.
Exactly.
So I think what you'll find is it's not that you get locked in on a standard, but you will probably like choose a home of some sort where you run a lot of the agents, but then like all the cool tricks are just going to be quite interoperable things. Like there's no reason, like, because they'll all have these same sort of agent bases like underneath them. So will it be open code? Will it be Claude code? Will it be Codex? Like it's, I mean, these seem to be the three that are up there at the moment. Goose has probably come off the boil a little bit. But those three are very, very good. You know, even open code these days is pretty well funded and going pretty hard. So
and then of course there's the privacy aspect to all of this as well, which is still kind of underexplored. I don't feel like there's much happening, and I mean there's obviously a little bit that we've been exploring with like Maple, but like I don't know that this is like with a lot of the conversation around like OpenClaw and like these other tools that are emerging, how are people dealing with the privacy aspect?
I think in the same way that they deal with the privacy aspects in a lot of their lives, which is, what?
Yeah, exactly. That's true.
It's. I think it's more. I mean, we said this before. Like, you know, the privacy will improve once the rug pulls carry on. Like you just kind of end up getting rug pulled over and over again. At some point, you're going, you know what? I'm going to use that console thing that keeps everything private by default, and then I'll only explicitly share. I think people will adjust their behaviors at some point. I know even for me, I was like, shit, this, like, I've gone through this, like, grades of going, like, oh, shit, I shouldn't run this on this laptop. And then it's like, I'll put it over here. Like, I shouldn't even put stuff on here that's not encrypted. Like, it's just... And, like, it's... So I think it's, like, there's ways to solve it. And I think if you solve it at, like, a low enough primitive, then you've just got that now. Like, this is why I don't build anything that doesn't just use like Nostr as a base for the login and the identity. It's just that like I don't I mean, I'll provide you a tool that will look like a password login, and then that will generate your Nostr identity for you. But I need you to have a key, because otherwise I can't assume that you have a key, and therefore I can't assume that I can just use encryption wherever I want, sort of thing. Whereas if you do, then I can just build this natively to respect you. And it's one of, as I was talking to Mark's friend of the pod from Maple, he called out earlier. So one of the things I said to him is like, I know like half this stuff that we built is probably like over-engineered right now for where people are at. But I don't want to build software that's extractive and doesn't respect somebody. So I'm just going to build it like this anyway, which kind of forces me down that path of like, you just have to assume key material, and we'll just make it easy enough for you to use it. Like, it's like, yeah, it's the way to do it. Like, it's otherwise you're just going to be an extractive middleman of some sort, and it's not really a position I think that we want to be in. So we'll just do it the hard way.
Yeah, that's it.
But I think if you make those decisions now, you don't have to like build in a bunch of technical debt and get rid of it later. You're just like, all right, we did it the hard way. This is going to work. When you start experiencing this problem, you'll be fine because you did it correctly, because you talked to us.
It is interesting as well how our approach is very organic, and it's very bottoms up. You know, we're talking to small businesses, medium-sized businesses, and it's very much let's just, I mentioned it earlier, it's the teach person to fish approach. Let's just get you across all of these tools and get you using them and working out where the value is for you. We're not going to impose anything on you yet, but you're doing that inside Wingman. You know, so it's almost like we're training a bunch of future users on Wingman through all of these sessions while they're still learning about what the tooling is and how it's valuable and why they should be using it. And like, that approach is interesting, and a lot of people might look at that and go, well, yeah, but shouldn't you just go and like push this out to millions of users like overnight? And I don't know, there's something about this approach that just like resonates with certainly my like personal philosophy that's it's evolved a lot over the years. I think like if we'd had this conversation, if this was all happening like 5 or 6 years ago, I'd be like,
maybe a bit further back, maybe like 2018 or 17.
That feels like 5 or 6 years ago.
It's weird, right? It's just like, I'm getting old.
Yeah, when I say 5 or 6 years, I mean 2015.
10. I mean 10 years ago. It turns out I'm just older than I thought, and we all lost.
Sadly. But you know, like I would have been like, we've got to go and raise some money, and we've got to get this into like as many people's hands as possible, and we're going to grow this thing really quick. And now I'm just like, I just don't want that. I don't think we need that. And I think the value is in the experience and working with a lot of people and like them going deeper with the technology, and we're learning stuff from that as well, and then baking it into Wingman. And Wingman's evolving, we're evolving, and you know, I think we might have also said this in the pre-pod pod. We were just like, you know, like we think about where we were a year ago with this stuff, and we were still like in a bubble a year ago, and now people are like starting to come to grips with this stuff. And we know that because more people are just coming to talk to us, whereas like a year ago it was still like much harder to initiate those conversations, because like I think a lot of people just thought AI was a bubble and it was just going to be a fad and it would pass and they didn't need to worry about it. And now people are like, oh shit, this is valuable. Like I can do a bunch of stuff with this. Like how do we figure out how to make the most of it? And that's quite nice. And I think the other aspect is with a lot of these tools doing all of the work, and we have this question around like, where are we going? What is work going to look like? Yeah, well, you don't want to spend all of your time in front of the terminal. Like it's nice to have a kind of more human-centered business that is more community-oriented and is more geared toward developing these like robust small business communities.
Well, I remember sitting at this table like 2 years ago and having this conversation around like it was just being highfalutin with no podcasts. So what's even the point? Like why are we even doing that?
Does it even happen if it's not on a pod?
And it was very much about like, well, where does the value go? And it's like, well, it doesn't go to software. So and you think about like, are you going to start this like big software play, and you're going to raise money on it, and you're going to do the thing? You say, look, it's like, whilst it always feels like these things come out of nowhere, you're probably looking at like at least 5 years of like solid hard work that just takes over your life. And it's like, I don't think we've got 5 years
Yeah.
and the value is still there in that software. Like, I've seen enough people now that are not technical realize they can solve their own problems.
Yeah.
You know, as we were just thinking that, I was like, you know what, there really is, like, if we just embed the agent in the software that creates itself, like, that is going to be a nicer experience. That is going to be like such a harder hitting moment for people when they realize that, like, oh, like, the thing is just creating itself and like coming up with more ideas and doing more stuff.
Probably more variability in the outputs as well for people. Like, they're all going to look so different. The laps they're building and how it functions and what it does, and like, it is just creative expression there. That's going to be cool. And then the key then is also to just like give people permission to go and do the thing, to ask, to ask themselves, what is it I want to build here?
That's a real starter project, isn't it? It's like a little life form
that
you can kick off. Like, that would hit hard very quickly. What is this software? It's like, you don't do this. Can you do this? Like, yeah. Like, oh, shit. Like, it's just like, I mean, yeah. Like, there's something there. I think you embed the agent that builds the software in the software, and you ship that instead of it being 2 separate bits. And then all you need to do is set up like, when you deploy the software, you just say, all right, you click the delegate, click the delegate button, and then it's like, all right, I can see everything now. You could have that moment for people where you say, okay, just ask it if you can see what you've been writing in the app. And there you go. That's all one session. They just talk to it and go, no, I can't. Can you do it now? Yes, I can. No, oh, shit. What happened? It's like, well, it's because you just gave it permission. So now you know that it can't see it unless you give it it. But
yes, I like it.
So all of a sudden the software like becomes alive.
Yes.
Maybe you even have the chat box in the to-do app. That's one less window.
I like it. Something for us to explore.
I don't know if that's just a bit weird, but maybe.
You mean just to like prevent people from going from screen to screen, back and forth, opening new tabs?
Yeah, it's amazing like how bad people are at going between screens.
Yeah, it's not a problem I was envisaging actually, but it seems to be remarkably common. That and people showing up with 100 tabs open in the browser and then trying to find stuff.
Oh, my keyboard doesn't work.
Well, my keyboard doesn't work. That's
I was like, oh man, this is going to be hard if I can't press the.
If I can't do a hard refresh, this is not going to work. Yeah.
That's like, what? I brought a computer. The computer doesn't work. It's like, oh, okay. What you've got there is a brick.
It's like, how much hard refreshing are you doing on a daily basis that these keys are not working?
It is interesting that people's like computers are so different. In the way they're set up. But
that was fun. I think we're probably hitting the hour mark, maybe a bit more.
Yeah, an hour 12 on
there. You go.
But that sparked something in me. I'm like, ooh, I can see how I would do something here. This is interesting.
Yeah, that wow moment is going to be even greater.
It's going to be even wower.
Even wower. Yeah.
Even wower. More wow, as they say. And on that note,
there we go.
More wow. That's the good stuff.